Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I think today's video is going to be a lot of fun because I'm going to be telling you guys my favorite spring albums. Or should it be favorite spring albums? I guess I'll find out in the editing. Spring still carries that introspection of the winter time, but maybe with like an underbelly of excitement. So when I listen to music in spring, basically like two sides of a spring day. I either have the rainy spring day like today, or the spring days that feel so much like summer. So let's start with my rainy spring day picks. My first album is Introspection by Luis Bonfa. Bonfa is a very famous Brazilian bossa nova artist. This album came out in 1972, and I also think the album cover is so cool for the 70s and for a bossa nova artist. It's just very unique. These songs evoke spring to me because, well, I just feel like they're very fluttering, they're very dreamlike. When I listen to Enchanted Mirror, it genuinely feels like I'm entering this mystical garden where the flowers are just blooming. It feels very Alice in Wonderland-like. It's a very short album. It's 8 songs coming up to 26 minutes, and it's just wonderful. So if you have, the free time to lay in the grass, put on this album, look up at the trees, and just be in the moment. All right, next up is I Need to Start a Garden by Haley Hendricks.
Your kindness, the sweetest that I've ever known.
I have to have an album on here that literally says garden. Haley is a singer-songwriter out of Oregon, and she released this, I guess, EP/album, maybe even call it a mixtape. The Bug Collector is the biggest hit off the album. You might have heard it on TikTok. You might have just heard it in like every indie folk playlist since she's released this. It's just a wonderful project. I find her sound really inspiring. It reminds me of, I don't know, the indie folk that I like grew up to love. She has this like haunting but very rooted and earthy sound to her voice, which I really, really love. And just on top of the acoustic guitars, and it's just a beautiful soundscape that makes me think of spring. So yeah. Still in that folk vein, we're moving on to Sufjan Stevens. Carrie and Lowell is my quintessential spring album.
Spirit of my silence, I can hear you.
I think that this album goes with so many different seasons, but weirdly, I just really feel like in the springtime, I need to listen to Sufjan. His voice is so dreamy. It's so mystical to me. I think his voice reminds me of like the magical and whimsical books that I grew up on. He feels like he would be a good narrator of a children's book. When I hear those opening chords to Death with Dignity, I'm just like transported to a forest, to a garden, to a meadow. That's where I want to be. One more last folk album. It's going to be Crying, Laughing, Loving, Lying by Lavi Siffre.
I look up from my book and see you sleeping on the sofa, wearing my pullover.
This album is just one of my all-time favorites, and his voice on top of these acoustic guitars, it's just a dream. And I love his songwriting. It is so sweet, it is so wholesome, and it makes me feel happy to be alive. I'm just like I think True Love sounds like his music. Till Forever will always be, I think, my favorite love song. I look up from my book and see you sleeping on the sofa wearing my pullover. I have a playlist on Spotify that I will link down below, but it's soft spring/early summer, and these songs have always just felt so quintessential spring to me. They've always felt like, okay, if I'm laying out on my picnic blanket, dying from the pollen, but suffering because we love to be outside in the good weather, this is the playlist I put on for that. This playlist will have songs from every album I just mentioned, so you can definitely listen to those, but also listen to some other things. I love soundtracks in the spring, and I also love classical, so there's a lot of that on this. If you like your spring to be a little folky, be a little indie, get into this playlist. But if you want your spring to be fun, upbeat, excited for summer, well, then I got you. Let's move to the next part of these spring albums. First one I'm going to do is Big Ideas by Remy Wolf. I love this album. I've talked about it on my channel a bunch. I'm one of Remy Wolf's biggest fans, and Big Ideas is just so fun and feels so exciting. I love Cinderella. I love Alone in Miami. They're a little bit angsty at times, so if you're like on a spring day and you're just hot and exhausted, it's just a perfect album. There's something about 2000s and the 2010s, that indie rock scene. Ooh, I love playing it in the springtime. So of course I'm going to mention Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by Phoenix.
So sentimental, not sentimental, no.
I could put this on loop. Same with Tourist History by Two Door Cinema Club. They're just perfect for when I want to get up and dance in the springtime and the weather is just so correct. Oh, I love it so much. I have a specific memory of being 13, going on spring break with my parents, which as a 13-year-old, you know, is horrible and humiliating. I wanted to be at the beach with all the other young kids in my middle school. We were at I think we were in St. Augustine, and I had my headphones in because I was feeling angsty, and I was like, I don't even want to talk to anybody. I'm just going to walk down St. Augustine. And I was listening to Tourist History, and I was listening to Phoenix, and I was listening to The Paper Kites. I just was so in my indie bag, you guys. And so that's why that music will always remind me of spring, because I feel like I'm taken back to that age. My last album that I've written is Tango in the Night by Fleetwood Mac.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Tango in the Night? That's a summer album. Fleetwood Mac? Summer band. You're wrong. Tango in the Night is a nighttime spring album, because when you hear Everywhere, that song defrosts me. When I hear that song, I'm truly defrosted from the winter. It's time to go out. It's time to go to the bars. It's time to go to the clubs.
Bus, club, another club, another club.
Little Lies, Big Love. Songs like that just feel like driving with the windows down in the spring. Fight with me in the comments about that. I don't care. I'd gaff, actually. I have a playlist called Birds Chirping Dancy Spring. Of course, check it out. Again, it will have songs from the albums I just named. That's going to be it for my favorite spring albums. Let me know what you guys like to listen to in the spring, because I know some people feel so differently. You might think indie folk, that's fall. Anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!